Time to get tillage started and the fertilizer on. This 8R410 is just not going to cut it. But hey, what's that thing? Well, 8R410 just didn't have it. So welcome to the new 9R. What a beast of a tractor. 9R 440 John Deere, 710/70R 38 tires and duals, 3-point N PTO, suspended front axle, and just about every option you could ever wish for. This thing has really good torque. So there we're at 4 mile an hour, 1200. And we'll just even back it off some more. She'll just keep her on pulling. Go up to RPM. We're running this chisel plow to max depth. This tractor responds real well. It's still the original 18-speed power shift that they've always used, but real awesome. I think they've redone the software because it shifts so much different than the ones prior. But the big thing's the 13.6 liter. Now you come up to the end of a row and you want to shift quick. It's pretty fast to respond. We had a 9560R. You guys can go back in the video and see that. Everybody wonders what happened to it. It's just a 3-year lease. That's all. We did not like that tractor at all. They had a 13.5 liter John Deere engine in it. 560 horsepower with the 18-speed power shift transmission. To my knowledge, it's the same transmission as this tractor, but it's much slower response. So say you're going down to a rut and you click back, and then it wouldn't respond very quick, so you kind of throttle, and it would just fall on its face with lack of torque. Same with the 8R410 23-speed transmission, which in my opinion is too many, because what you used out in the field seemed like you only ever had about maybe 2 to 3 gears that were correct for what you're doing. So you had these extra gears, and it slowed the shift. So you toggle, and it would zoom, and it was close ratios, and you're sitting there and you're going, gosh dang, this thing's slow. So naturally, when you come flying up to the end with a mulch finisher at 8 mile an hour, naturally you pull the throttle because it was just so slow to respond. The minute you pull that throttle, it's twin turboed, 410 horsepower, and that engine was very peaky, but once you pulled that throttle, it just fell on its face. And just like the 9560, if you did it too fast, too quick, you didn't slow it down right, and she bogged to a certain point, it'd actually throw it in the park. And I absolutely hate a tractor that you can't just, this thing you can just pull up the end of the row, throttle back like normal, bump your power shift a time or two, smooth. It's the way it's supposed to be. So the 410, I think what they were doing is they just push that engine to the max, and they're having to really get the boost out of it by getting the turbos wound up. The same with this engine. This is a single turbo, but you go on up in horsepower, and they go to the dual turbos, they're probably pushing it, and they become peakier. And with that mulch finisher on that 410, it was a full capacity, and any little blip to that full capacity, it just, like I say, it would just fall on its face. It just did not have it. Here we're throttled back, so I can toggle up or down, put the load on it. Now this chisel plow, this tractor would obviously handle more than this, and this is a John Deere 714 mulch tiller, I believe. Mulch tiller, maybe, I'm not sure. They got a name for these. It's a chisel plow. There's Colders, and then this has the True Depth Standards, which is the shank on edge. It has 4-inch twist lays on it. We're going as deep as she'll go. Just working it up nice. This will be 21 feet, 3 inches wide. This tool is the one we bought last year. We had another 714, a smaller one, and it was just a standard old C shank, and didn't have a spring recess. If anything, it'd break the shear bolts, but it would spring in the ground. Those C shanks would twist back, and the thing would start springing in the ground. This one does not do that, so you're able to go faster. Plus the extra bits, the capacity is much better. Just getting so much more done. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but the cylinders on this thing for the wings, the wings do not float. There's no wing wheels. It's nothing more than just a straight across. Keep dropping the camera here. Just a straight across toolbar when the wings are down. That's kind of neat in a way, but it's not bad out here. It just forms one tool lock solid, but at the same time, I don't think the wings would go in the ground if they were. It'd have to be a lot longer to have weight to go in the ground if they were on their own. But at the same time, it would be nice if it flex. So I don't know. Kind of a happy medium there as far as the way the machine unfolds and flexes the soil. In certain areas on our farm, 21 feet with no flex is pushing the limits, but not in this field. This is big and flat. But the tractor is pulling it very easy, or you're only using 55% power. Tried to pull this with the 280 a year ago. Now I know every year is different, but the 280 wouldn't pull that chisel plow at all. It would actually almost just dead stop it. And the 410 and 280, or one's more power than the other, but they're both 8,000 series, so it's not a landslide as to how much more or less power that it has. Yes, guys, I do use the auto track. But I'm really impressed with this tractor. They've really done a knock it out of the park design, the way the handrails come up, just the torque, like I say, this muffler and the air intake are out here at angles around your corner posts. Now they were a series prior to as well, but they didn't have quite the platform and stuff on them. So I'm really impressed with what they finally were able to create for a 4-wheel drive tractor. So kudos to John Deere on this one. I had to leave all the plastic and everything, like on the steering wheel here, little protectors and this tape. I don't leave all that on. We'll take all that off eventually, but now as to why we're chisel plowing this grounds for corn on corn production, we do this just to get the black dirt showing and get the residue chewed up, because no-till corn on corns, I haven't had very good luck with it. Maybe if you had perfect planter tillage systems, I don't know. I've just never had great luck with it. But I don't really like what I'm doing here either. I feel that this is an old school way of doing it, but it's what we have for an implement. If I had a John Deere 2660 or a Great Plains Turbo Max, I would be going that direction instead, just slicing up the stalks into little tiny pieces and getting the, everything leveled and smooth so that the planter and hydra's toolbar can go through, but not be doing the actual full-scale tillage here like we're doing. Because I just don't see a point in doing this, but it's not a huge amount of acres, so we'll go ahead and do it with what we have for tools. And what we will do here is we'll chisel plow this, and then it'll winter over, and we'll see about the weather. We got really cold weather coming in. We might freeze out. We'll see about what the weather does. Potential that if we freeze out, it'll just be done. But if we don't freeze out, we'll put anhydrous in on this, run phosphorus and other things. The phosphorus doesn't move much in the soil, especially when it's broadcast. So you want to work that in. It'll be down between the chisel plow lumps. And then the mulch finisher will come through in the spring ahead of the planter, and it'll be worked in nice and neat like your plant food on. So it's the best that I can do with the tools that I have, and we've had pretty good success with it in the past. So that's what we'll continue doing. But again, if I had a 2660 vertical tillage, that would definitely be the direction to go. Another option for this field, or what we're doing right here, would be a StripTill. operation. John Deere did re-enter the StripTill market this year. Supposedly, what it is. It's a repainted Soil Warrior, which is made by Environmental Tillage Systems. But I think it looks like a promising machine. It is one of the machines that we had looked at. And you can do an hydrous with it. They have a knife option, or they have a colder option, depending which way you want to go. If you want to run the hydrous, run the knife option. So it's a nice looking machine. I think that it would work great on our operation. The problem with it is I'm just assuming the price tag's quite horrible. And here we just ended up buying a new toolbar now. We could add Montag Gen 2 Carchar toolbar as well. But everything comes at a high price, and you end up doing something and something else enters the market, or things always happen. So we're going to stick with what we have, use what we have, try not to buy any more tools, and do our best to get the best returns with what we have. But yes, we could do a StripTill on this. It would work great. Plant right on top of strips, so that is an option. 90% of our farm is no-till, and we don't really like to till the ground. Too many times we end up dry here on the western side of Iowa. And I've talked about in other videos, but there is a dry line that keeps moving in a little closer every year. So we'll see what the long term is as far as weather. It's one thing you can never control. It's really hard to even predict. If you could control it, or you could predict it, you could probably make a lot more income. This tillage tool is great for certain application work or smoothing up, like behind the dozer. That's why we'll keep it. We'll keep it forever. But as far as what we're doing out here, I would actually prefer not to be doing. If I had an ideal control on this farm, what we're doing right now, what I would do is I would come out here with a StripTill rig, probably with the colder setup, run in my PMIK, my traces, all that stuff, have it on auto path. I'd come back next spring with the planter, and the planter would have a 2x2, some sort of a conceal system, something that would allow me to put down a form of nitrogen as well as other things when we plant. Then we would come back later and add more nitrogen with a Hagee, like a high boy with a colder bar, or possibly like a wide drop. Probably going to use a colder bar because, again, we are drier here in western Iowa. Now that I think would be your ideal application. That allows that rock, your P and your K, to break down in the fall or the winter. Get your strip mellowed out. You plant right on top of that food, and you add a nitrogen source to it from day one. That'll take off and grow like wildfire. That's probably your sure best way. The problem with that is liquid N prices are extremely high priced here locally. Not a lot of guys do it because you really can't spray it on, because we just don't get the rainfall here like they do out east, and it's extremely volatile, so it tends to just disappear. So there needs to be put in with a planter or colder bar injected, and everything you do just costs more money. We can't really use a colder machine and go back with a colder machine. Tractor tires out here running standing corn is just not very good. You really got to do it like a Hagee with a narrow tire. You can see the terraces and stuff that we're in. This isn't a Minnesota flat. And there's just certain areas of our farm that even with like a Hagee machine, you're going to take out 3 bushels an acre guaranteed, just making that extra pass out there in that standing corn, going back over it. Whereas with an hydrous, you can kind of do a one-hit wonder a lot of times, and it's maybe not right to get the most potential, but it will usually hit your yield goal. So everything is another machine, or you have to buy something else. If you could have 50 different machines, imagine you can pay for them all somehow. That'd be the best option, but trying to utilize what you got in the cheapest and best fashions. We have a dual placer, but then that leaves you needing something for the soybeans. That's a broadcast machine, as well as we wanted something to spread lime, so that's why we bought the BBI. But then if you got the BBI, what's the point of having a dual placer for corn or corn only when you need the larger and hydrous bar? Because a lot of times time doesn't let you get over it. So if you're going to upgrade to the hydrous bar, everything's a snowball effect and endless endless need to spend more money, it seems like. And like I just said, it's just going out and using a sprayer more for liquid end. Generally in our area we've done it in the past. We've even tried dry broadcast urea. We've had, I don't know 2 years is the same, but we've never had as good a luck as we do with anhydrous. That seems to bond to our soil the best. In this area, it's going to be the cheapest form. A lot of the times this area, like liquid ends, so as you drive around, there just isn't any. And if you do use it, which we will be doing some stuff here coming up next spring, but you have to order it. So what I'm trying to get at is no magic answer. But what I'm doing is not really the answer either. Maybe a vertical tillage and a strip till rig would be the answer. But again, you're talking money to spend. I really don't feel like spending. I think a vertical tillage tool would be awesome. I'd really like to have one. The John Deere that I was going to buy, I think went from like $95,000 to $135,000. And you will get a yield bump. We've noticed some, and even playing soybeans, there's a little yield boost with it. The problem is the yield boost seems to just about pay for the machine and all so you're just doing a lot more work. It's typical service center. You're doing a lot more work, and at the end of the day, you end up taking home the exact same amount of income. The only person that benefited was the company that built the vertical tillage tool. So while I'd like to have one, I just don't see enough ROI on it to go out on the limb and buy one. And that's not to say I won't buy one at some point, but right now, probably not. I'll do a much more in-depth review on this tractor, talk about it a lot more coming up in our videos, show all the features and highlight everything. Just wanted to throw a quick video together, show you guys what we're doing for corn preparation for the next year, and brag about this new 9R tractor, because again, I am thoroughly impressed. But I'll do that at a later time, because this video had to be on short notice because of the incoming weather. Today was a walk out of the house with short sleeves, and by noon you need to do coveralls. Probably a 50-degree temperature drop in one day is about that bad. And there's a good chance we're going to freeze out here soon. So we'll see. Stay tuned for more videos, lots going on, including some dozer work when we're having time. I just needed the good weather until about December 1st. And we're talking an early freeze out, which would, I think the weatherman says it had been 1978 would have been the year last that this would have ever happened this early. I mean, we just never freeze here before December 1st. That's like an early year. And you're talking November 10th, so yeah, it's not good. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching. You can catch the next clip here for some of the dirt work we've been working on, and then we'll catch you in the next video. Dozer's running awesome. We're working on the project when we have time, trying to beat some freeze out dates, but we're moving along, making good progress here. Added another cup holder over here. Same with the factory original one there. One just is never enough. And I put in a nice phone holder here, pretty cool, off of Amazon, and a Bluetooth converter, which actually just picks up through the FM signal right there. And pretty awesome. I'm really impressed with how well that stuff works. It's amazing what you can buy for literally 20 bucks off the internet. So here we got our new terrace going up, and this old one here, I'll turn around here, it's coming out. So here's the old one, it goes down, it's silted full. There was an intake here, it got moved up. This is junk, came out, and there was another one that went around the hill here and took it out. It ended, and it would just dump all the water off into out here, and you can see all the area out here has still got to get terraced and tiled, but terraced. I mean, it's already tiled, but the water would just dump off there on the end, and it would just cascade down through that grass area, which is kind of why we had to leave big waterways and leave it in hay. So it was always a mess, and that was because there was 40 acres here originally as a homestead, and then there was another 40 there as a homestead. So this was, over the many years, never ever fully put together. But we're doing it and doing it right. We got the disc chisel going, and we cleaned up, doing a really good job of the dozers, and one past that chisel plow. Hit it next spring, mulch finisher, it'll be seed bed ready. Perfection. And you can see and I can zoom way down there. We got the terraces going clear, down, wrapping in, and again way down. You can follow my fingertip. That was where the other property was, so 40, another 40 acres, and everything's combined to one farm a long ways around there. I wanted to conclude this video because I just know somebody's going to ask. This isn't our lease tractor. That's what we do with our more expensive, newer tractors. We lease them. To be able to buy this cash would just be astronomical. This tractor is actually, it was on order for 2 years, and the first year they didn't even produce 9Rs, so when it's in production we were able to get it. But this tractor, so we knew we were kind of aiming for this, but this tractor did suffer some price hikes before production, but the lease actually came in about $3,000 a year less than on the 8R410. Also, I wanted to add that the 8R410, those transmissions in there, I was complaining about the E23. It's my understanding that ZF, I believe, makes the transmissions. I think that's who it is, IVTs. They do not build one for the 410. It was never an IVT. But John Deere did come out with an electric version. It's basically the same tractor. It just uses IVT control. And it's kind of like a Caterpillar D7E electric drive. And that will be heading to the market. I think it's a great concept, and I hope it catches on, because I really like the idea of it. But that'll be the IVT of that tractor. So probably was a really good thing to be able to move up into this, and especially if they're coming out with a new 8R electric, that will just, you know, it seems like once the newest, the best thing comes to the market, then the other stuff's obsolete. Nobody ever wants it. Anyway, thanks again.